1975 in New York City with all those blaxploitation movies going on, and the trannies on 8th Avenue and the smut, but it was good smut, you know. It's like, you know, and the pimps and the hookers, and, you know, the gay culture was just like, that was pre-AIDS, so everyone was going crazy. There was a lot of color in New York then, a lot of color. And the color all came together kind of as one. Well, really, I'm from a suburb of New York. I am really a country boy that came to the big city. I just knew. I knew there was a world outside there, and I needed to go see it. I mean, I really knew since I was a little kid. I knew there was more than a deer hanging in the tree from deer hunting and a fishing rod. I just finished high school in 3 years, and then I met up with these two buddies within the first 3 months, and then I just took off. Hitchhiked to Florida. And it's funny, I was the littlest, you know, or I was the skinniest or whatever. Everyone thought I was the weakest, and I was the only one that survived the journey. And within a year, you know, I had gone from high school in Troy, New York, to college in Connecticut, to hitchhike to Florida, and I ended up right here in New York City. Knowing no one, without a penny in my pocket, nothing, in my clothes in a pillowcase. And that's a true story. You know, when I finally decided, you know, like, enough is enough. I don't know if you decide or your spirit can't take anymore. Like, one of my biggest turnarounds in life was, like, when I kicked an intense dope habit, like a really, really intense dope habit, you know. And I don't know how I, you know, came out as healthy as I am, all my limbs. I have your typical story. There's no one more raw or more powerful than Iggy. He's so, you know, he's the energy. You know, when I'm interviewed all the time, like, you know, your thing is style. You know what style is? Truth and energy. Iggy's the most stylish person in the world I know, and he's naked all the time.
Totally.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
That is style. But my clothes come from this woman, basically Agatha. You know, all I wear really is Trash and Vaudeville t-shirts and an Iggy Pop t-shirt. But Agatha New York Custom Leather makes my clothes. And I've said it before and I'll say it again. It's kind of like we have phone sex. We have a meeting of the mind. We don't really have phone sex, but there's a meeting of the minds. And when we just get together, whether it's by phone or telepathy or the passion, it just comes out to, like, yo, you know, I call that the Jimmy crotch. Everything's custom made I wear. Nothing, there's no doubles except the Trash and Vaudeville t-shirt. These pants are ridiculous. They're all leather, they're all handmade, every planet, everything. I don't, you know, like, I had this crotch long before that Christina Aguilera album cover. I think I had the first one, can't attest to that, I'm sure. But whatever. There's something about dirty silver that kind of rocks. But dirty gold with diamonds, like, you know, like Jay-Z kind of jewelry or whatever. Like, stick some gold and diamonds in all this silver and it would be so heavy that you'd be... Now look at that, right there it says it all. Thorns. I love thorns. They're so sexy and so dangerous. You know, it's like you want to crawl in them, but you know it's dangerous, but you still want to crawl in. My boot chain. It's all sterling, too. Look at that hook. I just put it around my boot. Another pierced heart. Heart with a dagger in it. It's so heavy, too. This one's sexy. This is one they didn't want to let me on a plane with once. I was like, what? I wear it all on planes. I don't take any of it off. My pants. Right? They're my pants, right? Look who's wearing them. Like a shroud of Jesus around his neck in his office. And he's got a Virgin Mary in his office. But the most amazing part is she's got a dirty tear running down her eye. Doesn't my grandma's one of my heroes. I think she's one of the true punk rockers in the world. I mean, she just, like, raised 3 children during the Depression alone, scrubbing other people's floor, a woman in a man's world, living to 106 years old, blind as a bat, but when I'd walk in and visit her, she'd say, wow, you look great, Jimmy. I think she taught me the blessing and gift of unconditional love. My boss is one of my biggest heroes. You know, he took a chance on this kid. I started at Trash and Vaudeville like 11 years ago. You know, I knew Trash and Vaudeville. It was a piece of my life since I came to this big city. I went in as the lowest paid guy there. I remember the interview, and And he was like, when you're done, you're done. And he told me his pet peeves. And he told me my pay, and I took the job, and it just grew and grew and grew. Like within a year, I was the highest paid, and I was the buyer, and all the rock stars were coming to see me, and all the stylists were coming back, and you know, everything Trash and Vaudeville was built on, that Ray built it on, just like flourished again. I love Jim Carroll. He was such a great writer because he just said it as it was. He just put it exactly as it was. But once I had a conversation with him, I was in this basement, he asked me to get him a piece of pizza. My life's so awesome. I was like, oh my God, Jim Carroll asked me to get a piece of pizza. I didn't even think that. I just went with the flow. He said it's what he eluded and who he was, how he could just frankly and honestly tell a story. You know, his fame came from, I had read later, like it was when he was dope sick at the St. Mark's Church, and how he told the story of killing a cockroach, you know, while puking in the toilet with Raid. And of course the New York City cockroach wouldn't die, and everyone was like, great, great. And he's like, I'm just telling a story. One thing I learned is never kiss and tell, never write the book, and you'll always be invited back. I mean, not everybody needs to know every bit of the story. You know what I mean? You know, my stories are just stories. They're my life. You know, whether it's walking down, you know, into Studio 54 or getting off that bus with your clothes in a pillowcase, running the streets with the beautiful little Jim Carroll-esque boys. They were my buddies. That's all I had. That's what I lived for. God rest their beautiful souls. I'm so lucky that I can stand here and still dance up and down Fifth Avenue. You know, I dance down the streets. I have a hard time walking, so I just like to dance and live that beautiful lust for life.